Welcome back to the show, everybody. Today I've got a great podcast lined up. It is just a solo podcast, but we're going to talk about all things sales and fitness. And today I'm going to highlight fitness. Fitness is a huge part of this. And I want to start with, I thought I understood fitness. Then I realized how much I didn't know. It is so true. And this happens every year for me. I'm like, I think I know a lot. Boom, I get hit with something and I'm like, just kidding. I don't know that much, but I want to share with you guys what I have learned, the stories along the way, and way deeper than just macros, nutrition, workouts. I want to go deeper down the rabbit hole, things that have really made me question my health, the way I operate, the things that, work, don't work. So most people do think that health is just nutrition and workouts. That's it, right? But when you start questioning and start caring about your health, you start to ask more questions. At least I did, right? And these questions did turn into some rabbit holes where suddenly you're wondering about a lot of different things. You're wondering about your water. You're wondering about ingredients. You're wondering about micronutrients, right? There's so much that actually plays into this that I want to really talk about this rabbit hole. So the first point I want to dive down into is my formula was this. I think that every guy that I talk to that is trying to take their health and fitness seriously should start number one with lifting weights, eating enough protein, getting your macros dialed in, and losing the body fat and getting to a place where you're between 10 to 12% body fat at least, so that you're lean, strong, and feeling good that way. Because if those things are off, no matter what you do, during this rabbit hole that I'm about to go down, you're skipping step one. So step one is that. And that's what I first did. To tell you the truth, the first time I lost the weight and got into shape, I was eating crap food. I was still having the donuts, the cookies, and I was having a bowl of cereal every night, some milk, some cookies, and I didn't care about the ingredients. I didn't care what I was eating. I was pounding the cocoa pebbles, but I was losing weight. I was getting shredded. I was learning that the nutrients that you put in your body will determine what you look like. Your macros determine what you look like no matter what. But then I started realizing there's another game to play, and that is the energy game. How do you feel insanely good as well and look insanely good? Obviously, I wanted both, but that's when I got into, I'll call this like the next phase, which is ingredients do matter. They really do matter. And this is where the awareness started to be, I started to pick up on it. I started to look at ingredients at the stores. I started to look at what I was eating, right? And you realize that foods can have the same calories, but completely different effects on your body. And I started to feel, I feel a little bit better if I switch this out for a little bit something cleaner, something that has better ingredients in it, right? It started as simply with like protein shakes. I started really studying the ingredients in the protein shakes. I'm looking for natural flavors. I'm looking for how many ingredients are in there. And I'm just testing how I feel. I'm drinking one protein shake one day, and then I'm going and drinking another one the next day. Big differences. I felt, and I'm a pretty aware person. Like I can feel when my body kind of rejects something or I just don't feel as good. And so I started there, which is like protein shakes, supplements, and I started really diving down this hole. And you really realize that there is a difference, and there's a difference with how you feel and the energy and everything like that. So I'm not going to go super deep on this podcast into everything that I learned, but I just want to give you a high-level overview. The ingredients do matter. The food dyes, the preservatives, the seed oils, the gums, the stabilizers, I remember what was the biggest one for me. Oh, what do you call those? Man, I'm spacing right now. Not natural flavors, but like the sucralose. And like the things like that, I started really dialing in as well. The things that make something taste extremely sweet. Dude, those things are not what you want. So they're all addictive. They're all screwing up your taste buds and making everything else taste terrible because of how sweet something can taste. So then I started swapping everything out, started swapping things, going crazy there with ingredients, started to feel better, right? Not necessarily changing like my body and what it looked like, but I just started feeling more energy. I started being a little bit more apparent that was important. And then this next layer was the environment, where this is where it gets interesting. The stuff you're putting on your body. And I started with deodorant. Deodorant was the first thing. I'm like, okay, what ingredients are in this deodorant? Let me look at some other brands. Let me see what's going on here. And it's very similar to the food thing. There's certain ingredients that are in a lot of these brands. It's cheaper, it's quicker, it smells way better, it's stronger, but then you realize there's a negative with everything. The ingredients that you're putting are endocrine disruptors, which screw up your hormones. So I'm not going to go like super deep into it, but cologne and perfume was another one that I told my wife, listen, we got to look at our, the perfume you're putting on, the deodorant, the cologne, and you really start to realize your skin absorbs a lot of this, and it does start screwing up your hormones. This was another hole that I dig into. Again, this is why health is so much deeper, but if you don't do layer 1, macros, workouts, and you just skip to layer 2, 3, 4, 5, you're always going to wonder why you don't look and feel great. I just believe that there has to be a system where you focus on one thing at a time and then just start layering stuff in. So then we started looking at what we were washing our clothes with. That's another rabbit hole as well, but there's so many chemicals and things that screw up testosterone and metabolism. And it's obviously you got to eat healthy, but you also got to watch these things too, because your environment can really mess stuff up. And then the last hole, or another hole I went down, is the water you drink and the air that you breathe. You're like, well, how the heck can you affect the air you breathe? Listen, when you're inside, you can control it. When you're outside, you can't. It's fresh air. Sometimes it's going to be good air. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit more contaminated, but you can control your house. And so I went down the rabbit hole of getting some air filters in our house. And that's important too. It's so important to filter out your house and make sure that you're breathing in good air. Again, it affects a lot of the way that you feel, a lot of the way that you can think. Studies are showing that people that have clean air have more energy, can focus longer, can do more. So you have an unfair advantage with just simple things. And then the water that you drink. I think this actually should be level 1, is getting your water filtered, making sure you're not drinking crap water. Everyone should filter their water. Every single person on this planet should be doing that. For all the things that I use, I'll tell you at the end, but at the end of the day, I have a free group that you can come in, and I'm going to try to put this all into place so that people can see what I recommend and things like that. Because I realize that I change my ideas probably every month. And so I need a place to update and keep this stuff, going, because I've changed so much. Shower filters, bath filters, it's all so important. The average person has no idea what it can really do. And then there's the next layer would be micronutrients. This is vitamins, this is minerals, this is the things you can't get enough of from food or your diet, you got to supplement with. There's important things that almost every single human needs a supplement with. And then when you go down this rabbit hole, you realize the same thing, the ingredients in the supplements. You also realize that our soil is depleted because over the years, there's pesticides, there's things we're spraying on things. Our food is not as nutrient dense as it used to be. And so key minerals, magnesium, zinc, all of these things we're not getting enough, vitamin B12. And then you dive down and you're like, there's cyanocobalamin, there's methylcobalamin. You always want to get a methylated methylcobalamin multivitamin. You never want to get cyanocobalamin. That's a man-made chemical. So one's synthetic, one's bioavailable, your body can actually absorb it. Again, it's a deep rabbit hole. I'm not going to go super deep into it, but it's just little things can make a big difference. And so you got to be aware and you got to know that you want the right stuff. The supplement industry is just as confusing as the food industry. At the end of the day, you realize with micronutrients, your micronutrients determines how you feel. Macros determine what you look like. Micronutrients determine how you feel throughout the day. If you're getting enough of the nutrients, you will feel better, right? You will have more energy. You will be able to sleep better, all the different things. And so my takeaway from this, and I hope I didn't throw too much at you guys, but those are the layers of health that I've taken on and just learned more and more and more about. And I continue to learn more about and switch my stances and change my ideas on things. And I can go deep on each one of those, maybe in different podcasts and really give you guys my recommendations and things that I would do and, things that I would do with my kids and whatnot. big takeaway here. Health is not about perfection. I don't want you thinking that you have to do all of those things that I just mentioned, but slowly making alternative choices. Again, you'll look back and you'll start to be like, wow, my life is different. I'm feeling better. I'm doing so much better, right? You don't need to be paranoid, but you do have to question. You do have to question people. You do have to question products, food. What is this really doing to my body? And I created a free group that I'm going to really start putting in some of these things that I recommend so that you guys can just apply this and don't have to take 5, 10, 15 years to learn this, that it took me that long to learn all these things, right? Because it's just one thing at a time. And now it's like I could just give people the guide, the blueprint to just dial their health in a little bit quicker. If you want that community, it is going to be in the show notes. It's completely free. Again, it's mainly for people that just want to up level their fitness and their health deeper than just nutrition and workouts. So that's it for the show today. I hope you guys got something from it. I just want you guys to know that it does make a difference. A lot of people online will say it's not that big a deal or this and that. Sucralose isn't a big deal. You just got to test it yourself and try both sides and see what happens. So I hope this episode makes you feel a little bit better and makes you realize all the different things that could be affecting your health. Until next time, take care, guys.